Hello, welcome to the National Real Estate Post. I'm your host, Frank Ray, re-releasing a show that we did with Barry Habib at the beginning of the year that had a technical glitch on it. And everybody's chiming in saying, hey, where is it? I want to see it. So I'm going to let it roll out again. Before I do, I want to remind you, if you're a loan originator and you want to get some awesome insights and tips that you can implement immediately in your business, just check out Carl White's Loan Officer Freedom podcast. So cool, super free, updated every week. Totally awesome. Click the banner you see right here over on your right, or just look right down below. You see it there, or there's a link on here on Facebook somewhere. With that, let's get to Barry's show. Fascinating insights from Barry Habib for 2020. Here you go.
Barry, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's really great to be here with you. I'm excited about not just a new year, but a new decade, actually.
Yeah.
So a lot going on here. So
I can't believe it's been 20 years since 2000. Remember the big Y2K thing and everything?
Sure
I remember that New Year's Eve so clearly, and like, it's 20 years ago? Like, what? Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible how time just passes, just turn the pages like crazy. Well, we're gonna be into this year pretty quickly. So the first thing we have to do is we have to be planning for it, right? You never want to just play defense because for the most part, you can't score when you're on defense.
Right.
So you have to really stay on offense, get your plan together of what you're anticipating, what you're getting, and set longer term goals too, because we are flipping into a new decade here. And I know you and I want to talk a little bit about what we think the new decade looks like, what the year looks like.
Right.
Things that are near and dear and close to us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was hoping we could talk about housing, what your thoughts are for 2020. And, you know, of course, everybody was just always concerned about or curious to what your thoughts are on interest rates. You know, you've always been so accurate there. What you think, you know, we might be looking at. I know it's a pretty long period of time to prognosticate, but just what you think about the year.
So let's take a look. Yeah, Frank, we've had a lot of fun throughout the year. You know, it was back in May when the 10-year was at 2.53 when you and I talked about that crazy number. I said to go to 1.39. Okay, it went to 1.42. Didn't get all the way down there, but that shocked a lot of people. And we look at things that I think many people don't look at, and these indicators have been very reliable. So let's put them to the test again. Let's talk a little bit about what we see going forward. So the first thing is that I feel that there's a dark cloud that we are kind of ignoring. And that truly is, we've talked about this before, but I don't think people are paying any mind to it, and that's FinTech. And FinTech companies really want you out of the picture if you're a mortgage originator or if you're a real estate agent. And if you think, well, maybe it just might affect real estate agents, don't really get too convinced about that and too comfortable, because first of all, you depend on them perhaps for some referrals. And if they're gone, the FinTech companies take them away. But also they're really gunning for you. You know, about a week ago, the CEO of Better.com, literally, you could just pull it up on CNBC. Mm-hmm. It was in the morning segment. They ran it again in the afternoon, but watch the morning segment. He was with Andrew Ross Sorkin, and he was asked, you know, just about his business and the growth of Better.com and doing mortgages. And you know what the new tactic is?
What?
Saying that, well, we don't discriminate. But he literally said this, that mortgage brokers discriminate.
Wow.
First of all, I mean, think about how crazy that would be. No, I don't want to take your money. I don't want to do your loan because I don't like, you know, where you're from or whatever. Think about the lunacy
insanity.
of it.
Yeah, it's insanity.
It's so insane, but this is the next card that they're playing, okay?
Gotcha.
They are ruthless. They want you out of this business, and we have to defend ourselves. So we have to truly take on the role of an advisor. You know, we've talked about this forever. In fact, one of the things that I'm working on is I'm working on a program that will help people really prepare for this and be an advisor. So that's one of the things I'm working on.
Good.
But you really have to be an advisor, Frank, because something exciting is coming down the pike.
Okay.
My doctor, Dr. Mike Roizen, who's a doctor to many famous people, Oprah Winfrey being one, and many, 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 many others. He is at the forefront of longevity. He is telling me, I'm convinced that by the middle of this decade, there will be a breakthrough that allows us to do something very important, which will increase our life expectancy and health expectancy.
Okay.
So here's the deal. Listen to this. This is really interesting. Our genes can live a lot longer than they do. So they're based upon programming. And the way that it happens is genes are programmed to repair themselves. However, it depends on what species it is, because every species is different. When you have offspring, or when you reach the age when you should have had offspring and that offspring reaches an age where they could be self-sufficient, where they no longer need you, the reparation process, the process for you to repair your own genes shuts off.
Wow.
So you go through something called aging and we die off. Why? Why would we not repair them? Listen to this. Because nature wants to allow the resources to be used by the younger generation. So you're not using the resource. It's crazy, right? But here's the thing. They found a way to flip these back on.
No, really?
Yes. So we will be living longer, a lot longer. So while that's exciting and while that's great, it also comes with more responsibility. The people whose mortgages that you're doing, if they're going to be living a lot longer, they've got to pay for that life as well. Right? So the decisions that you make can't just be what's the rate that you're getting. It has to be how can I create wealth through this vehicle.
Interesting.
Now, one of the greatest things you can create wealth with is making a purchase of a home. But first, I want to talk about the stock market. The stock market had a banner year in 2019.
Right.
2020, a lot of people are calling for this great year, a lot of optimism. I'm a little more cautious about it.
Okay.
And one of the reasons is because of something called the Fear and Greed Index. You may have heard people like Warren Buffett, be greedy when others are fearful. Be fearful when others are greedy.
Right.
Sir John Templeton, somebody I've always admired. Sir John Templeton, he said, you want to be a buyer on the most pessimistic day and a seller on the most optimistic day. Well, I've got to tell you, there's so much optimism. Everybody that parades on the air is saying how great the stock market's going to be. You don't hear any naysayers. When there's extreme optimism, we have to be careful. And there's an index. You can look it up. You can pull it up on CNN. Just go to CNN.com, pull up their Fear and Greed Index. It ranges between 0 and 100. 0 being extreme fear. At the beginning of 2019, it was at 5. So everybody hated the stock market. Everybody said the stock market sucks. Had a banner year. Now it's at 93.
Wow.
Extreme greed. History tells us it doesn't have to happen, but history tells us with a great degree of accuracy, it usually goes the opposite of where it is. And there's logic behind it. If you're extremely greedy, if you're optimistic, well, then chances are you're probably in the stock market. So where's the new money going to come from to push it higher? If you're extremely fearful, chances are you're on the sidelines. You're not in the market. So there's plenty of money to push it higher.
Right.
This philosophy called the contrarian philosophy has been very good. So let's think about that. How does that affect interest rates? If stocks pull back, rates will decline.
Right.
That's one. Let's talk about housing. Housing is going to be great. Housing will continue to be great. And you have known me for a long time. We've had hundreds of discussions on this. I was kind of the lone voice on housing being good when everybody else was worried about it because of the dynamics and the metrics. Let me tell you some advanced metrics that we look at. Number one, what drives home ownership of single family homes? It is unquestionably children.
Okay.
If you have kids, you want to buy a home. Let me give you the statistics. If you are between 30 and 39, I picked this because this year, the oldest millennials, can you believe this? They're going to turn 39 this year.
Wow.
The oldest millennials. Isn't that crazy? So if you're between 30 and 39, here's the statistics. No children, 38% home ownership rate. You have a child, 80%. More than one child, 82% home ownership rate. Let's take it another step down the chessboard. Here we go. I look at Google searches. When you take a look, let's go back to 2008. Google searches in 2008 for baby names, the index between 1 and 100 was 45. Today, 82. People will be having kids. People will be needing to buy homes. You and I have gone through demographics. You know how important I feel demographics are. This advanced metric tells me that you should be very bullish on housing. Now, rates, where are rates going to be? Rates should stay really good. So look, we made this bold call. We got awfully close to it. I've also said that I think 2020 could be a year for recession. I've gone out and said that. Absolutely. But I know I've said that. I know the chances of it seem more remote after 3 Fed rate cuts. And you know what the Fed's doing that nobody knows about? They've been buying $100 billion a month, $100 billion a month of bills. So they've been really trying to stave off a recession. Will they do it? Maybe. However, manufacturing's really in a recession. Shipments of packages is really in a recession. However, the service sector has remained strong and the consumers remain pretty strong, although I think you'll see disappointing numbers from the holiday numbers from what I'm seeing. So here's the deal. Do we get a recession? I don't know. Maybe towards the end of the year. But I think 2021 looks like a very good chance. I bring that up because rates will drop dramatically when you do eventually see that recessionary rate. You can't stave it off forever. It's been the longest expansion on record. There's been some financial engineering to stave it off, but watch what happens when the Fed eventually stops buying $100 billion a month in bills.
Yeah.
It's an exact correlation. The Fed started buying at the exact same time. The stock market started rising like crazy. At the exact same time, interest rates started going up. When the Fed pulls the plug on this, stocks will decline, the money will go into the bond market, and interest rates will improve. So watch this. This is the most important thing. Now, throughout the year, the China trade deal was big. We got a trade deal, but it wasn't all we thought it was going to be. They were expecting $25 billion a month tariff reduction. You know how much we got? $9 billion. So it's very disappointing, but we got a deal. So everybody's woo, 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 right? So it's kind of on the sidelines a little more. I think phase two, which is the big part, will be hard to get a deal this year. And especially hard if Donald Trump's chances of being reelected become more clear. The greater the chance that he becomes reelected, the more emboldened he will be to strike a tougher deal. I'm not saying that's bad for us, okay? He wants to get a better deal for us, okay? I don't want to be political, okay? But the fact is that if he really needs a deal to get reelected, he'll be more willing to negotiate. If he feels strong about his election probability, he'll negotiate harder and try and get more. So this is all going to play in, because if we don't get any kind of phase two China deal, stocks won't like that as much, and the effects of the tariffs will continue to take effect, or it will continue to slow things down. Interest rates, this is the big one we all want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think interest rates will be really good, because inflation is going to be relatively tame. We may get a little bit of inflation here and there. We're already getting it. It's kind of masked in a few ways. It's a longer conversation, but I think that it is quite possible to see interest rates on the very, very, very high side. It's somewhere around 2.25 on the 10-year, but could potentially drop back down to about 160-ish, 150-ish on the 10-year. So there will be great opportunities to refinance. But even if it does move up a little bit from here, you're still going to be in a great spot. You'll be well below 5%. But the key to this year, to really surviving, be that advisor and do debt consolidation. And the last point, I'll tell you why. Debt consolidation will be the magic elixir for smart loan originators who know how to do it, because today, 76% of all mortgages are below 5%, 60% below 4.5%, 39% below 4%. Rates go up a little bit, your refinances drop. We start talking about things like margin compression, all that crap comes back. You can avoid that with smart debt consolidation and debt restructuring, because it doesn't really matter what rate they have. You can create wealth. And you and I have talked about this. You've seen this. It's the stuff that we do at MBS Highway and the tools that we put out there, and what we'll be doing with this new ability to teach loan originators that will be coming out this year. I don't want to let too much out of the bag, but I'm so excited about it.
God, I got to tell you, that was probably one of the most fascinating shows you've ever done with us. That was really, really fascinating information. And so listen, guys, viewers, do us a favor. You know what I mean? Definitely you want to share this with your peers, because that information was just stellar. So good, Barry. Thank you so much. Also, guys, you're going to want to stay in touch with Barry throughout this year, just based on everything that he said, to help you be a better originator and to help you be an advisor. There's a link down below or around here on Facebook somewhere where you can start MBS Highway for free if you haven't started, and stay connected to Barry. Okay. Also, one last thing. Don't forget, you're going to need some down payment assistance. Don't forget about Chinoa. I've already told you about the banners and the links around here. Barry, I'm going to sign off because this one went a little long, but it was well worth it.
Can I just say one last thing for you? I mean, if people aren't using tools like Listing Booster right now, please protect yourself. These fintech companies are really taking a hard line approach. Do everything you can. This is not the time to be, to be cheap. Okay. Yeah. Invest in yourself. No successful person did it by being cheap. Okay.
Right.
You're not spending money, you're investing money. Get the tools that you need to fight off these behemoths. Okay.
Thank you.
Right now is the time to do it. And you're going to have a wonderful year and a wonderful decade. More than anything, I wish you guys health and happiness.
All right. Thank you, Barry. You guys have a great new year. Thanks for showing up today. Let's get at it. Do us a favor. Start a conversation. Click the Facebook button down here and share it. Leave us your comments down below. Subscribe to us if you're meeting us for the first time. We'll catch you tomorrow here at the National Real Estate Post. See ya.